The topic of the show today is going to be contributing to your slavery. Today, the officer Monstrati and I, we're going to bring out some scriptures, a few books that we don't often get to bring out a lot. So it's going to be a good show. It's going to be a good show. I pray you brothers and sisters pay attention and just listen and do your own research. That's the number one thing. Do your own research. And we will get started here in a few minutes. So. All right, thank you. Let me find some music, man. There we go.
Hey, shalom. Most High Christ bless. Happy Sabbath. Give me a second. I'm writing some stuff. Hope everybody's doing well today. Happy feast.
Well, they got a lot of commercials going on. Somebody clean it up. Leave my trash all over the place, man. I need some room. Oh, this is the book. There we go. The one I spoke about last week. There's some stuff in here that we're going to bring out. How to Make a Negro Christian. Very good book. Very good book. That book. Man, where this hair keep coming from, bro? I know it ain't me shedding.
Well, somebody should.
Yeah. All this old Edomite hair, man. Hey, we still gotta go a little bit. We gotta pay some bills there, Israel. Be patient, please. It's a lot of commercials, bro.
Is it?
Yeah, man. I still got what? 1, 2, 3, 5 more commercials to go.
What am I gonna do?
Plus the one that's playing. Are you available to read today, Ophir? Just in case I need you, man, because he might be still busy. Are you available to read?
What you mean I'm ready?
Oh, you still might be doing your scripture.
No, I'm done, bro.
Oh, all right.
Okay, I was not read.
No, I'm done. It's like this on the other side. No, I'm good. I just wanted to make sure I had the ones that we had talked about last night.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm good, man.
All break. All break.
I know you dropping hints, man. I'm ready.
Nah. we still got to pay bills, man. We got 2 more commercials to go. Still got to pay bills, man. It's a lot of
Let me know if you need more room.
This good enough right here, bro.
You want to just go into it? Skip the music and just go into it?
No, we'll do like 1 or 2 songs. Hey, Shalom Israel. We can interact. What's going on, everybody? Most High Christ bless. How y'all doing? Hey, the first thing I get is ISUPK. What's that all about? Never mind, I don't even want to know.
Hey, we represent how you know.
Man, you on the wrong radio.
I know, right?
Hey, shalom. Happy Sabbath. Judah King 405. That's Oklahoma area code.
This is Israel United in Christ. I know you see it.
Oh, you got a shout out. Shalom, Officer MEL.
Who that?
Erzbeth, Sister Erzbeth.
Oh, hey,
Hey, shalom,
sis.
sis.
Most
High Christ bless. Dallas Camp. We are in the city of Dallas. Hey, shalom. Shalom, it's the car.
I guess you won't be getting your haircut today.
You ain't read it. I told you.
Who was that?
Officer tonight, you got stomach virus. Hey, officer, if you're watching, get well soon, brother. Send up prayers for you.
Where can you hear us teach in Dallas? If you go to israelunite.org.
Like you watching right now.
Yeah, you can go to Israel Unite. You funny. You go to israelunite.org. And it has the phone numbers on there for Officers Rubel and Officer Lemuel. You can speak with them, and they'll direct you from there.
You get some volume, man.
And your books got pictures in it.
Yes, you are welcome.
And stuff like that.
Hey,
Where you from?
I'm not a
Echo,
kid.
Israel.
I know.
I'm messing with you.
Hazadiah, he give you a shout out about your haircut.
Hey, Shalom. What did he say about my cut?
So even though it's not a king cut, it's nice.
Hey, you appreciate that.
Oh, you live in Denton, okay. How long you been following?
I ain't know
Hey,
it's not
Shalom,
a king.
Minnesota.
I ain't know it's not a king.
Shalom, Cali.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, a year. And you haven't been to the school?
They ain't been cutting.
You haven't been to the school, didn't?
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I could holler at the new dude.
Yeah, Hezekiah.
You know what I mean? Hey. No.
No,
No.
not at all. Be on the lookout about IUIC coming to Puerto Rico. When it be the Most High's will, we'll make our way through there. So be patient, and I'm pretty sure they have something in the works. Shalom, Osias. How you doing? Yes, we use the 1611. Because we were with Israel United in Christ, so that's why we don't have an opinion about it.
So you like turtles, huh? I like turtles too. They're cute.
Hey, Shalom, Bermuda. Most High Christ bless.
Houston.
Shalom, Houston.
Stone.
Shalom, Oakland. Shalom, Chicago. Most High Christ bless. You about ready?
Yeah.
Shalom, Miami. All right, we're about to get started.
Let me exit some of this stuff, and we're gonna come in and
One attack on Hebrew is an attack on us all. Okay. All right, let's go.
All right, we coming in at 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Shalom, shalom. Most High Christ bless. Happy Sabbath to Israel. I hope everybody's
Shalom,
doing good. Before I get started, I want to say all praises to the Most High, giving thanks to the Father and the Son, Jesus the Christ, the Black Messiah. Wanted to give a shout out to all the radio shows out there. You have Lions Den in Orlando, Lions Den in Oklahoma, Patient Saints Radio, Truth Be Told, and please forgive me if I forget anyone else. But all praises for you brothers that are putting in the work. All praises to the Most High.
The truth, man. That's
right.
It's a wonderful thing.
We do follow, so all praises for that. Go ahead. Did you have something?
Oh no, man. No, I was about to say something. So let me go ahead.
All right. The title of the show is "Contributing to Your Own Slavery." Contributing to your own slavery. The reason why we had came up with that title and thought about that title is because Officer Amiel and I are going to go through obviously the scriptures first and foremost. We're going to talk about the things that we've been through as a nation of people, and then knowing that you're Israel, knowing that the things that we've been through, and still we have that slavery mentality. And as we go along in the show, it'll explain itself. First and foremost, we're going to be using some books, but I want to get the scripture first. Give me Isaiah chapter 34 and verse 16. I want to make it clear that the Bible stands alone, but we're going to bring out some other books because we know how our people are. Our people will read it to them in the Bible, but they always want to hear it from somebody else.
It's not believable until Esau said it, until
right.
the white man said
until somebody else tells you. But we're going to make it clear, first and foremost, that the Bible stands alone. Give me that.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 34 and verse 16. It says, "Seek ye out of the book of the Lord and read."
So the Bible says, "Seek ye out of the book of the Lord and read.
No one of these shall fail. None shall want her mate."
So it's talking about seek ye out of the book of the Lord and read. That's the Bible. That's where you're going to learn your history. That's where you're going to learn your nationality. That's where you're going to learn how to keep God's commandments. That's how you're going to learn order, and that's how you're going to learn structure. There is no other books in this world, in this universe, that compares to what's in the Bible, and keeping God's commandments. So there's no other book that I can give you or read to you that is in comparison to what you're going to learn when we come out of the scriptures. We understand that. So read it from the top again.
This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 34 and verse 16. "Seek ye out of the book of the Lord and read. No one of these shall fail."
There is no failures in the Bible, whether it be prophecies, laws, commandments, rules, regulations, however you want to put it. There are no failures in this Bible. All praises to the Most High for that. Read on.
"No one of these shall fail. None shall want her mate.
Uh-huh.
For my mouth it has commanded, and his spirit it hath gathered them."
So in his mouth he had commanded it. So whatever's in this Bible, there's no comparison to it. So with that, I'm going to pass it on to Officer Amiel so he can get the show started.
All right. Like the officer brought out today, we're going to talk about contributing to your own slavery. And there are many aspects that go into this. One of, and we're going to touch on a few of them, but one of the first things that we do that contribute to our own slavery is assimilation. Let me give you the definition. Assimilation is the process by which a person or group, is a process by which a person or group's language and or culture comes to resemble those of another group. That is the definition of assimilation. And we're going to jump right into it. Let's go through the scriptures. Give me 2 Maccabees.
All right.
Chapter 4 and verse 15. Let me get there with you.
All right. This is the book of 2 Maccabees.
Uh-huh.
Chapter 4 and verse 15.
Yes, sir.
Not setting by the honors of their fathers, but liking the glory of the Grecians best of all.
So our forefathers saw what the Grecians was doing and wanted to turn away, wanted to not walk in the path that our forefathers walked in. They liked the accolades, I guess you would say, the sin that the Grecians were in.
Right. It's just like today in the sports world. They like the fame. They like the fortune. They like the women.
Yeah.
They like the power. They like all the perks that came with it. It's no different. What you're reading now is what you would call your NBA stars, what you would call your NFL stars, what you would call your actors, your baseball players, and so on and so forth.
Read on.
Verse 16. By reason whereof sore calamity came upon them, for they had them to be their enemies and avengers, whose custom they followed so earnestly, and unto whom they desired to be like in all things.
Just like the officer was just bringing out. We try to assimilate ourselves with a group of people that really don't like us. They are our enemies. But the first thing we do is, as well, like let's say like with the athletes, the first thing that they do is as soon as they get a little money, let me go get a house over there with the rest of them at, with the rest of these white people at, or well Esau. Let me get a car like Esau got. Let me get the same woman that Esau got. Because it said in verse at the end of verse 16, it says, unto whom they desire to be like in all things. So whatever they did, they wanted to do also. And that was, it happened then, and it continued with us in our spirit, even up through the time of slavery. What you got?
Right. I'm going to read just a small part out of this book real quick. But before that, those being your enemies, in comparison, that would be your team owners, who we wanted to be like those people, but they was using us to make more money.
Yeah.
They were using us to do all the injuries, whatever the case may be. We were a stepping stone for them. I'm gonna read this. This is it's called How White Folks Got So Rich, and it goes to what he was saying. Verse 16, where it says, by reason whereof sore calamity came upon them, for they had them to be their enemies and avengers, whose customs they follow so earnestly, unto whom they desire to be like in all things. But like you said, in their mind, it's different.
Yeah.
Like we want to be like them, but they know what the purpose is for us, for them.
Yeah.
And that's to make money. So just like on here where it says, How White Folks Got So Rich, that's the name of this book. He said, this is, what's his name? The guy?
Donald Sterling.
Yeah, Donald Sterling. He says, I support them and give them food and clothes and cars and houses. Who gives it to them? Does someone else give it to them? Do I know that I have? Who makes the game? Do I make the game or do they make the game? Is there 30 owners that created the league? So they understand their position.
Yeah.
And they understand the use of us. Go ahead.
I'm going to bring some out real quick in this book here. It's called The Hebrew Heritage of Black Africa. Now, this book, it has 2 authors. The first author is an Edomite by the name of Stephen Jacobs. The second author of the book is a Jake by the name of Moses Farrar. But I'm going to read to you what the Edomite wrote to in his book. Now, this book was published, the copyright on this book is 1971. So this book has been around for a while. It says, it must be kept in mind that the black man did not have control of his own destiny until recently. He was obligated and conditioned to accept the norms of others and slavery and near slavery have been the rule in the United States. Even when the black man finally gained his freedom, he remained culturally castrated. Because it started back, like we just read in Maccabees, we wanted to be like the other nations in all things.
Right.
We want to be just like the Grecians in all things. And when you do that, when you assimilate yourself, you become culturally castrated. Let's see what else he says. He says, he lacked the tools, as any psychologist would agree, to be master of his own house. These tools include a homogeneous family. Now, the word homogeneous means a structure, a uniform structure of the family, and community life, an unbroken tradition of education, and cultural self-awareness. Because we have assimilated ourselves, we contribute to our own slavery, we have lost our cultural self-awareness. This is the Edomite telling us this. Political and economic independence, and the psychological self-awareness that comes with being a genuine first-class citizen. And again, he wrote this in 1971. Before I continue real quick. Now, I'm going to read something else out of the book. His purpose for even writing this book. Where is it? Oh, here it is. Now, this is the purpose why he wrote this book. He says, the truth is that this book is meant to provide more than cold, hard facts or historical insights, as important as each is. The book has a spiritual dimension as well. It is the hope of your author, this Edomite, that reading it would stimulate pride and sense of destiny in part of the black and brown people everywhere. So he wrote the book to us.
And notice he said black and brown people everywhere. So that means he knew that we were Israel.
Yeah.
The so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians. He knew this.
Now, it's also important to know that this book was, like I said, in 1971, it's the copyright, but it was done on the back of an 11-year study. He just picked up and published it in the book. Okay, and I'll read on. It says, this comes with knowing who you are, where you come from, and where you ought to be heading. Additionally, this book is written at a time when black people around the world over are seeking to rediscover their own identities. Not satisfied to learn about white European history and its heroes, black people in their intellectual and spiritual awakening want and in fact deserve to know who they are.
Hey, you gotta read that last part again. I hope y'all paying attention on here, what the brother's bringing out. This is our history, and the other nations understand who we are. They understand our history. So I hope y'all understand what the brother's bringing out. Read that again.
The last part again. It says black people. Now, he said black people, but in the paragraph above, it's written to the brown and black people. It says black people in their intellectual and spiritual awakening want and in fact deserve to know who they are. I know you're about to get the script.
No, go ahead.
But this is what Esau wrote back in 1971. But he did it knowing who we were. I'll read a little bit more. Man, I like this book, bro. This is one of the reasons why he even wrote the book in the first place. He says, more and more white Jews, especially the older ones, are acknowledging in secret to those of us who already know that the original Jews were black.
Read that again. Read that again.
You sure?
Yeah, read that
You sure?
again. I'm positive.
Now, this is the reason why he even wrote the book in the first place, to let us know who we are. He says, more and more white Jews, because he considers himself a European Jew. But in the book, he does say that they converted. But anyway, more and more white Jews, especially the older ones, are acknowledging in secret to those of us who already know.
So he said acknowledging in secret. Give me Psalms 83. Let's see if the Bible speaks about that. Like I said earlier, there's no comparison to the Bible whatsoever.
I thought you were going to get that disconnected from my hat.
Yeah, we're going to get that. We're going to get that. I'm gonna read something in a book, and then I'm going to bring that out. But we're gonna show you that all these things that all these other nations are writing about, or the things that we speak of, you can read about it in the Bible. There is no comparison to the Holy Scriptures. All praises to the Most High for that. But to bring out some information for you other brothers and sisters to pique your interest so you can study and educate yourself and learn is the purpose. Go ahead.
Psalms chapter 83 and verse what? 1?
Start at verse 2.
Verse 2. For lo, thy enemies make a tumult.
A tumult means an angry gathering. They have gathered together. Go ahead.
And they that hate thee have lifted up the head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people.
So they have counseled together. They have gotten together on one accord, and they've spoken about who we are.
Who we are.
In crafty counsel, in secret, they've gotten together and said, you know what? What can we do to keep this nation of people down?
To help them contribute to their own slavery.
Right. What things can we do to keep them at the bottom? To separate them? To make them assimilated with us? To keep our culture? That's that crafty counsel. Go ahead.
And consulted against thy hidden ones.
Consulted against thy hidden ones. We are the hidden ones because we don't know who we are.
Because we've assimilated ourselves, for one.
Right. So when it talks about consulting against the hidden ones, how many times when you can go up to, like the bishop always says, I can go up to 10 black people and I'll ask them who they are, what's their nationality, and I'll get 10 different answers. There's a reason for that. When you go to elementary, middle school, junior high, and high school, you're not being taught who you are. They tell you you're an African or an African American. They tell you that's where you came from, and then your history starts when you came off the slave ships. That's all we know. That's all our children know. Go ahead, read on.
They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation.
Come, let us cut them off from being a nation. Because if we gather together as a nation, we would shut this place down. We would shut any place down. Because there's more of us than it is of them. And if we come together under a nation, under the banner of Israel, if we come together as the children of Israel, they know what would happen. Read on.
That the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance.
But they don't want us to know who we are because that keeps them at the top. Read on.
For they have consulted together with one consent.
So they're on one accord. The other nations are on one accord on stopping the children of Israel. Having us not remember who we are. Telling us that we blacks, Hispanics, they'll tell you that the blacks are different than the Hispanics. We're not the same people. These are the things that they do to keep us down. Read on.
They are confederate against thee.
They are confederates against the nation of Israel. So we're trying to give you that understanding that they know who we are. Just like he just read in the book. They know who we are, but they only speak it in secret. They speak it in secret. So if they know who we are and they speak it in secret, and you brothers and sisters know who you are, why would we contribute to our own demise? Which
by
is what
trying to assimilate.
Right, by trying to assimilate, which is what we're trying to bring out today. So go ahead, officer.
And another book that goes into our assimilation after slavery, after the Emancipation Proclamation, a lot of us wanted to be just like the slave masters, because as it's a scripture in Ezra about that, we saw that even though all the evil and sin that they were doing, they were still being prosperous. But I'm going to read to you out of this book. It's called The Black Image and the White Mind. This book is done, it's like a 97-year study on the study of us, the Israelites. Now, this is what part of the conclusion that they came to after the Emancipation Proclamation. After we tried to assimilate ourselves with our captors, with our slave masters. It says, the Negro, it was suggested, could become equal to whites, but only by ceasing to become a Negro. I.e.,
hold on. Read that again. Listen up, brothers and sisters. Read that again.
it says, the Negro, it was suggested, could become equal to whites.
So it's saying the Negro, you could could become equal to whites. This is how you can become equal to whites. Go ahead.
But only by ceasing to become a Negro. Watch this this next part. I.e., by actually turning white. And that's what a lot of our people do today. They use the cream to try to bleach their skin. They put the weave in their hair, trying to turn themselves white. What's the girl name? The little ugly one now, Lil' Kim. She done messed herself up so bad trying to turn white. Because she said, people used to laugh at me over my skin, over the way I looked before. Now they really laughing at you, sister.
Yeah, and tiny. You're right, sis, and tiny. Matter of fact, she had got that permanent contacts. Like, you know, she changed her eye color permanently. I didn't even know you could do that. So, what he's bringing out is heavy. It say, read that from the top again, man.
It says,
read that from the top.
The Negro, it was suggested, could become equal to white. So you could assimilate yourselves with us.
Right.
And be on our same level, but only by ceasing to become a Negro.
But you have to change everything about you. That's the only way that you could become white. Is by changing who you are.
We always see them.
Right.
We call them Oreos.
Right.
Been doing it for years. This other passage in the book, it says, he also contended that the vast preeminence of the Caucasian in intellect. Hold on. Let me read that. I messed it up. He says, he also contended that the vast preeminence of the Caucasian in intellect was of such an order that it could not be attributed to environment, but must be a gift of nature that had been withheld from inferior races. Apparently recognizing that such a conclusion might be used to justify Negro slavery and Indian extermination. This is what they think about us. We have an inferior intellect. We can never be on the same level that they are unless what? Unless we turn ourselves white. We can never assimilate properly with them in their mind unless we turn ourselves white. The author is George Fredrickson. Know if you can see that?
I'm a piggyback off of that book. How he said that basically that the only way they would see us as equal is if we turned ourselves white. We made ourselves just like them. I'm gonna give you the mindset of them. This book is called Sociology, A Brief Introduction. This is the book that I had received when I was in college. This book right here is a reason why I started to do my research on who I was. Because of the things that is in this book, I actually was like, man, this is talking about me. So I started to do my research, and long story short, I found out I was Israel. And this is the, when they, let me get it real quick. It says Deuteronomy 28, when it says a proverb and a byword. You know that?
I had that marked also.
Right. Let me get that real quick, because I'm going to read it to you, man. And there's a reason why I'm going to bring this out.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, and verse 37. And thou shalt become an astonishment, a proverb and a byword among all nations, whether the Lord shall lead thee.
Okay, read that again.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, and verse 37. And thou shalt become an astonishment.
An astonishment is an amazement. For example, I always use an example. When you at the zoo, and you have a little child at the zoo, and they looking through the window, and they see a gorilla or something on the other side, or a tiger or something like, how do they look at it when they view it for the first time? They never seen it.
With amazement.
They look at it with amazement.
Eyes big.
Right. And so I always relate that to when we were in slavery, and I watched the movie Roots, and they had them all in the chains, and they were bringing them up on the stages, and you had the Edomites just looking at them like, wow, like they've never seen nothing like that before. So when it talks about an astonishment, that's the analogy that I always use. And you fast forward to today, your astonishment would be like a Negro sagging his jeans or something like that, or he wearing a dress, or you got a Jake sister acting like a man. Those are astonishments to the other nation. Read on.
A proverb.
A proverb is what? A wise saying. Mm-hmm. One of the wisest saying is, if you want to hide anything from a Negro, put it in a book. And that's one thing that I've learned since being in the truth, and a little bit before the truth. And the reason why I say that is because you have books like this that are in the colleges, and our people don't read it. They don't apply it at all. I had so many people in my class that were Jakes, and our teacher would be speaking and bringing out something, and they just wouldn't be paying attention. They was just there to collect money, or they was just there to barely pass and keep it moving. So this is the pride of Esau, that they'll put these books out in the open, and then our people don't think anything of it. So I'm gonna read you some of the things, the comments that Esau says about us as Israelites. This is again, this is called Sociology: A Brief Introduction. It's called Culture and Dominant Ideology. It says conflict theorists. Conflict theorists, they are people who study social classes. Let me get in here real quick. They are people that study social classes, and they study why one class is higher than another. So they study classes to see why one is on top and why one is on the bottom. They're called conflict theorists. So it says, conflict theorists agree that a common culture may exist, but they argue that it serves to maintain the privileges of certain groups. So that goes into Esau saying, yeah, we're equal, just like the officer was bringing out. But the reason why they tell you that we're equal is to keep them at the top. So they'll tell you, yeah, we're equal, but they'll go home to, their nice house, their neighborhood, their nice neighborhood, the lovely things that they have. Meanwhile, you go back to you struggling. But they tell you that we're equal. It says, moreover, while protecting their self-interest, powerful groups may keep others in a subservient position. So they tell you that they're equal in order to keep you in a subservient position. What's a subservient position? A slave. The term dominant ideology describes a set of cultural beliefs and practices that helps to maintain powerful social, economic, and political interests. So when it says dominant ideology, that means that my ideas are better than yours. My thoughts supersede yours. My culture is better than yours. My level of thinking, my way of how things should be is better than yours. That's called dominant ideology. My ideas are better than yours. It says, from a conflict perspective, the dominant ideology has major social significance. So they're saying one person pushing his ideas over another, there's a major significance to this. It says, not only do a society's most powerful groups and institutions control wealth and property, so they're saying not only do these ideas control wealth and property, even more important, they control the means of producing beliefs about reality through religion, education, and the media. So one nation's ideas play a major significance because they're able to push their beliefs through religion, education, and through the media.
And the crafty thing about it is that you think you're advancing. You think that you're moving. You think you're moving up in the world. But you are actually contributing to your own slavery. You are contributing to your own downfall.
Right, because we fall into this.
Yeah.
And it all stems from them telling you, yes, we're equal. Yes, we're the same people. Meanwhile, when you go through the school systems, you're not learning anything about yourself.
Yeah.
All the holidays that you are learning from is through their history. and through their culture. So everything filters through them.
Because even here in Texas,
Mm-hmm.
they have what they call Texas history. You have to take Texas history when you live in Texas if you send your kids to school. Now, when my daughter was going to school, she's homeschooled now, but when she was going to school, the teacher told us, like, yeah, she has to take Texas history. So I'm like, well, are you teaching the entire Texas history? Are you teaching about slavery also? Nope. So what kind of Texas history are you teaching? Because that's the history of Texas.
Right.
What other history is it?
Right. I'm gonna tell you something. My son, we had started homeschooling our children because my son, he had came home one day and he got an A on this paper. I look at the paper and his teacher, they was doing some history about when the war between Texas and Mexico.
Yeah.
And in this paper, he was a slave owner, and he owned his own people. And I was like, what the heck going on? Does she not know the psyche that she can have on my son by telling him that it's okay to own slaves and have these slaves run your plantation?
Yeah.
And so I called her, and she said it was no big deal to her. She's like, it's part of the class, and that's a study that you have to do. And I'm like, look,
That's crazy.
you got my son who is black, and you gonna teach him and tell him that it's not a big deal to own his own people,
Yeah.
and to have them work in the fields. Bro, that was the last year that they went to the schools. That's what they teach in the schools.
Yeah.
Let me finish this real quick.
Yeah, go ahead, sir.
It says, a growing number of social scientists believe that it is not easy to identify a core culture in the United States. And the only reason why they say that is because when you come to America, you are the melting pot. So that's why they say this. But we're able to identify who we are through the scriptures. That's why we read Isaiah 34:16.
Yeah.
You seek ye out of the book of the Lord and read, because the Bible tells you everything that you need to know. So other nations will try to, all this is a cover-up.
Yeah.
Like we had read in Psalms. They're not going to tell you this in the open. So they'll say, yeah, it's a melting pot. It's mixed, everybody's the same, but we know different. It says, for support, they point to the lack of consensus on national values, the diffusion of cultural traits, the diversity within our culture, and the changing views of young people. Yet there is no way of denying that certain expressions of values have greater influence than others, even in as complex a society as the United States. So it's telling you, even though we're a melting pot, there is a certain group or a certain nation of people whose ideas are everyone else is still following.
Yeah.
Despite us being a melting pot, somebody's leading the way.
Melting pot for a reason.
Right. Somebody's leading the way. And so let me get First Maccabees real quick. Because yeah, it's telling you there's a melting pot, but again, somebody is leading that. You can read that in the Bible. We're gonna get it. First Maccabees chapter 1 and verse we'll start at verse, give me a second, Israel. 41.
41. I was looking right at
1 and 41.
I figured that's what you had wanted.
So let's see if this happened in history. Go ahead, also.
It says, the book of First Maccabees, chapter 1 and verse 41.
So again, it says, we're all a melting pot, we're all the same, but somebody is directing the course. Go ahead.
It says, moreover, King Antiochus wrote to his whole kingdom that all should be one people.
So, real quick, we're going to find out who King Antiochus is. Go to First Maccabees 1 and read verse 10.
1 and 10.
Uh-huh.
Oh, and there came out of them a wicked root, Antiochus, surnamed Epiphanes, son of Antiochus the king, who had been a hostage at Rome. And he reigned in the 137th year of the kingdom of the Greeks.
So Antiochus was a Greek. So go back, which is now in now times he's an Edomite.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
The book of First Maccabees, chapter 1, verse 41. Moreover, King Antiochus wrote to his whole kingdom.
So King Antiochus was in rulership, and he reigned in the whole kingdom, And like we said, he was a so-called white man. Go ahead.
That all should be one people.
So in America, they tell you the same thing. That we're all one people. We're all that melting pot. There's no difference between you and I. But meanwhile, it says King Antiochus wrote to his whole kingdom.
This was a Greek captivity.
Right.
All right.
So his whole kingdom. But yet he's telling you we're the same people. That's what we're reading in the sociology book.
I want to get that Persian Mede captivity.
Okay, go ahead.
Verse 42. And everyone should leave his laws. So all the heathen agreed.
So think about it. If you a Chinese man and you come over here, whatever rules, laws, regulations that you have to get rid of that. Because if you believe in one thing, let's say they don't believe in homosexuality. Yeah. You come over here, it's a different story.
You got to.
You have to leave your laws and what you believe. Go ahead.
That everyone should leave his laws. So all the heathen agreed according to the commandment of the king.
According to the commandment of the king. According to, in America, whatever stipulations America gives on you, whatever laws, whatever they tell you, you have to follow those laws. I was thinking about this the other day, just like the athletes. They pay you all this money, but you're not allowed to speak on certain things.
Yeah. You can't.
If not, you'll be fined. They'll tear you up in Twitter and all those things. You'll be blacklisted. You can't find a job. All those things. So you got to sit there and deal and take whatever it is that they give you.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Verse 43. Yea, many also of the Israelites consented to his religion.
So now it's telling you, even our own people consented to his religion. And think about it. During that time, the Greeks were doing all kind of abominable things.
Yeah.
So if you fast forward to today, it'll be no different. We know that certain things that we do, we're not supposed to be doing. But we contribute to that, or we're okay with that, when we know that we're not supposed to be doing that. So that's how our people are. Go ahead.
Sacrifice unto idols and profane the Sabbath.
All right, so that's it on that. So just like we had read in the sociology book, our people were going through the exact same thing back in history.
Yeah.
Back in those days. It's no new thing under the sun. Go ahead.
Let's go to the Persian captivity. Give me the book of Esther and the Apocrypha. The book of Esther and the Apocrypha. Chapter 14.
Yeah, we talking about this last night, huh?
Yeah, chapter 13, I'm sorry. We're going to see if the same thing happened in the Persian captivity. How they came together.
All right, 14 and what?
Start at verse 4.
All right, this is the book of Esther in the Apocrypha, chapter 14 and verse 4.
Uh-huh.
For my danger...
No, 13. I'm sorry, 13.
All right. This is the book of Esther in the Apocrypha, chapter 13 and verse 4.
Yeah.
Declared unto us that in all nations throughout the world there was scattered a certain malicious people.
So they said declared. Now this is what's the brother's name? Well, not the brother. Artaxerxes. This is a letter that he wrote. He said, declared unto us there's a certain malicious people that are scattered. Talking about the Israelites because we were scattered. And they called what we did, our laws, us keeping the commandments, of malicious acts. Read on.
That had laws contrary to all nations and continually despised the commandments of kings, so as the uniting of our kingdoms honorably intended by us cannot go forward.
Read that from the top again. I missed it.
Declare unto us that in all nations throughout the world there was scattered a certain malicious people that had laws contrary to all nations.
So our laws were contrary to all nations. So in order to correct the contrariness, you could say, they make us assimilate. Like the Indians, when you read about the Indian schools, they forced them to assimilate. Because what they did, the laws that they had amongst themselves, were contrary to the laws that Esau wanted to set up. Read on.
And continually despise the commandments of kings.
So just like we just read in Maccabees, when the dudes said we want all should be one nation. What we did, what we had going on was despise that commandment. This back in the Persian captivity. It's before the Greeks. Read on.
So as the uniting of our kingdoms honorably intended by us cannot go forward.
We cannot firmly establish ourselves if we got people within our midst that go against what we're saying. We got people with malicious laws, but they just went through and they slandered us. What they doing is malicious. They despising the commandments of the king. They trying to keep the Sabbath. They want to keep the commandments. We got to end all that. We need to assimilate these people. Today you look at that as integration.
Right.
You know what I mean? We need to assimilate these people in order for us to establish our own laws, in order for us to establish our own government in peace.
Right. I'm a piggyback off what he said. This goes into two things. When he mentioned the Native Americans, and then he mentioned assimilation. I'm gonna tell you what it's called in sociology. I'm gonna read it for you. In sociology, it is called cultural genocide. So I'm gonna read this for you. Actually, I'm gonna backtrack. So I'm gonna give you one first. It's called ethnocentrism. Ethnocentrism refers to the tendency to assume that one's culture and way of life represent the norm or are superior to all others. Mm-hmm. The ethnocentric person sees his or her group as the center or defining point of culture and view all other cultures as deviations from what is normal. So what that means is the act of departing from what's established and accepted standard. So that's what we're reading.
Yeah.
In that time, the Greeks saw that their customs and their culture was the standard. That's supposed to be the norm.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go to cultural genocide. This is what they call it now. They no longer, in colleges, they don't want to say assimilation.
Yeah.
They call it something else.
Cultural genocide.
Cultural genocide. I'm going to read this. It says, usually the term genocide refers to the deliberate, systematic killing of an entire people or nation. However, social scientists have long recognized another form of genocide called cultural genocide, in which a nation's culture is eliminated even though the people live on. So cultural genocide means you've left your culture, your history, who you are, your nation of people, but you still here. Another term, they call that brainwash.
Yeah.
It says, formally defined cultural genocide refers to the systematic destruction of a group's culture. I'm going to stop right here, and I'm going to read out of the Bible. Give me Jeremiah chapter 17, verse 4. While he's getting that, it says, formally defined cultural genocide refers to the systematic destruction of a group's culture. Go ahead.
The book of Jeremiah, chapter 17 and verse 4. And thou, even thyself, shall discontinue from thine heritage that I have gave thee.
Read that again.
And thou, even thyself, shall discontinue from thine heritage that I gave thee.
The Most High God said that we were going to discontinue from the heritage that he gave us. That we would no longer call ourselves Judah, Benjamin, Levi, Gad, Naphtali. That we would call ourselves Negroes.
Because we wanted to assimilate so bad.
African Americans. We will be called these things. Read on again.
And thou, even thyself, shall continue from thy heritage that I gave thee. And I will cause thee to serve thine enemies in the land which thou knowest not.
Say that again.
And I will cause thee to serve thine enemies in the land which thou knowest not.
So if you were to serve your enemies, what would that mean? If you serve your enemies, you are going to take on the customs of your oppressors.
Contributing to your own slavery.
So you're not going to be able to call yourself what the Most High God gave you. You're not going to be able to call yourself, Israel. You will be called a Negro, an African American. So the Bible tells us that we was going to leave our heritage. Give me Deuteronomy 28 and verse 48. Again, in the book it talks about cultural genocide, which means it was a systematic destruction of a group's culture. Go ahead.
the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28 and verse 48. It says, therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee, in hunger, and in thirst, and in nakedness, and in want of all things.
So the Bible said that we were going to serve our enemies for food, for water, for clothing, and in the want of all things. Read on.
And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he hath destroyed thee.
Let me go back where it says in the want of all things. So if you want a driver's license, who do you got to go to? If you want to be buried, who do you have to go to?
Yeah.
If you want to have children, who do you have to go to?
Yeah.
So it says in want of all things. And read the last part again.
And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he have destroyed thee.
So having a yoke of and so having a yoke of iron upon your neck means he's in control. You are being controlled. And then until he destroyed thee, that means when he took the yoke of iron off your neck, you were still in control.
Yeah.
He was still in control. He was still running the show.
Because you were destroyed.
Right. So let me, did you have something real quick before I fit?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
You about to bring it out in the book?
Yeah, I'm about to read something real quick.
Oh, go ahead.
All right. So it says, however, the term also applies to government efforts to eliminate indigenous peoples' tradition. So it's telling you in cultural genocide, the government partakes in the elimination of our people. So now it's going to tell you some countries. It says Australia, Canada, New Zealand, and the United States illustrate this second form of cultural genocide. In the United States, government officials encourage white families to adopt indigenous children and raise them in a dominant culture. So this goes into when the officer was bringing about the Native American Indians. I'm going to read it again. It says, in the United States, government officials encourage white families to adopt indigenous children and raise them in a dominant culture. Notice it said in a dominant culture. Agents of the U.S. government took American Indian children from their parents' homes and sent them to be raised in families far from their native culture. Sometimes the children were removed with their parents' permission, which we know that's a farce. And the reason why I say that is because if you
Some of them did, though. Some of them did.
But for the most part, if you take away food, clothing, someone's livelihood, and they have children, what choice would you have for most of our people?
Yeah.
So if I say, okay, if an Edomite comes up to you or another nation and they say, you can't take care of your child, and that's to be true because they've taken everything away from you, and they say, well, I'll feed them, I'll clothe them, and I'll take care of them, what would you do? A lot of them would do that for that reason. They would say, well, my child has a better chance of survival if they go with this person because they stripped me of everything. It says sometimes the children were removed with their parents' permission, but often they were taken against their parents' will. Government officials assumed that the supposed benefit of familiarizing the children with the dominant culture would outweigh and ultimately excuse the personal and cultural losses the children experience. Inevitably, the forced removal of generations of American Indian children from their families led to the near extinction of their cultures. So they're saying taking away their children and assimilating them or giving them to our culture far outweighed the loss of them being taken from their family.
Because assimilation is you contributing to your own slavery.
So go ahead, officer.
Real quick, I'm gonna bring out this book here. It's called "Been in the Storm So Long." In this book, we're gonna see what happens because we just read in Deuteronomy 28 that we would have the yoke of iron upon our neck until we were destroyed. Let me show you the destruction that we had right after Emancipation Proclamation. It says, in one Virginia household, a young servant expressed her disappointment over the failure of emancipation to do precisely that. Nor did the reassuring words of her mistress. Now, this is what her mistress said to her. You must not be ashamed of the skin God gave you. Your skin is all right. Make any impression on a young woman. This is what the slave girl said. She said, "I'd rather be white," she persisted. Reflecting on this incident later, the mistress's daughter, so the slave master's daughter, concluded that there had been something pathetic in her aspirations. There was something pathetic in the slave girl saying, "I want to be white," right after you got emancipated. Now, it goes on to say in the book, although emancipation left skin hues unaltered, meaning you didn't turn white, freed men might still wish to fashion their aspirations and way of life after those who had always enjoyed freedom and whose comfort, diversions, and manners they had observed for so many years. So it's saying that right after emancipation, that immediately a lot of slaves, they wanted to assimilate themselves. Immediately they said, I want that life. I mean, it's understandable. You've been going through servitude for so long, but not all slaves wanted that. Not all slaves, most of them wanted to get as far away from the slave masters as possible. But there was that core group that said, I want to be just like y'all. Y'all got it going on. I want to sit on the porch and kick my feet up too. You know what I'm saying? Right after you got free. Like, I ain't going nowhere. I'll stay here with you. If I can be like you. Just like the little slave girl said, I thought I was going to turn white.
Right. Matter of fact, give me Deuteronomy 28 and 43.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28 and verse 43. It says, the stranger that is within thee shall get up above thee very high, and thou shalt come down very low.
So that's why she had that mindset. Is because we know, according to the Bible, that we supposed to be on top.
Yeah.
That we are the special people.
But we were so destroyed.
But we were so destroyed, just like when you read, jump to verse 32.
Verse 32. Thy sons and thy daughters shall be given unto another people, and thy eyes shall look and fail with longing for them all the day long, and there shall be no might in thine hand.
So when you will witness atrocities like this, where you see your people being sold away from you,
yeah.
Your brother, your sister, your mother, your father, you being beaten, raped, hung by those who have gotten over you, in a course of time, you want to be that.
Yeah.
You see these things and you think that, especially back then when they would teach you their religion, everything was about them. So in your mind, you look at yourself and there's no self-worth.
Yeah.
So you see the strangers that have gotten above you and you've gotten at the bottom. Your mindset would be, man, I wish I was that.
Yeah.
Or I want to be
just like that.
Yeah, I want to be just like that.
I want to assimilate myself.
Because they had all the power. That was the power that was given to them because we broke God's commandments.
All right, hey, we got to go and pay some more bills with some commercial breaks. We'll be back shortly, Israel.
All right, what you got, man? Where we going?
I want to hit this spot right here. What's going on in Periscope, man?
How you hit the ignore button on here or block? How you block
You
people?
have to click the person whoever will come in and then it'll pull up and say block.
Man, go and let the haters hate, man.
No, I'm gonna get rid of them, man. So
They
who?
got the confusing in there.
I guess so.
They got people going crazy talking about people arguing baseball with people. Like they doing Periscope, man. They Periscope on.
Yeah.
They argue with somebody.
All right, we at commercial. Where you want to go next?
I'm hitting with that right there.
What's that? Okay. What else? I'm gonna follow your lead, man.
That's this good shit.
What
It's
books y'all
a
using?
few things in here, man.
Let me take pictures of the books I got.
First and foremost, the Bible.
Nah, I'm talking about them books.
I know, but I said first and foremost the Bible. I can't get the Bible, man.
You want pictures of them?
Yeah, bro.
It's obvious.
Scoff scoffing.
Who we got scoffing on there today? Israel. Who we got on here scoffing today?
How can you be naturally bald? By nature, that's how you can be naturally bald. What kind of question is that?
Do you recommend any more books? First and foremost, the Bible. And the reason why I say that is because without the Bible, if you read any of these other books, you still be lost. Matter of fact, let me get Ecclesiastes 12 real quick. This is why I say this.
You know how to get back to this place, right?
Yeah. Page 56. Ecclesiastes chapter 12 and verse 12.
Ecclesiastes 12 and 12. And further, by these, my son, be admonished, of making many books there is no end. And much study is weariness of the flesh.
And much studying is the weariness of the flesh. So, having all these books do you no good if, first and foremost, you don't put the Bible first. Otherwise, it'll drive you crazy. Because you got to be able to separate a lot of the truth from the not truth. But yeah, we'll post some of the books we have. Oh, my bad, man. You might want to take that again. My hand was in the way.
No, they did it.
What else y'all got going on there? Scoffers and heretics on Periscope. You always going to have scoffers and heretics, man. Everywhere you go.
Right. My mom implied that include the Bible. Yes, filter everything through the scriptures. You are 100% correct. You are welcome, sis. All praise to the Most High. We don't, He gives you that enlightenment. So thank Him first and foremost. But I know what you're saying. I appreciate it, sis. Why are we listening to them?
Bro.
I don't know why.
Hey, we go ahead and
Why'd y'all start this? What are you talking about?
You gotta go in. I remember he told me that he said you gotta go in and turn the auto DJ off or something like that.
Why did y'all start this?
It's
What
on cue.
are you talking about?
yeah, it's
Yes, the truth does matter. The truth always matters.
There you go, bro.
thank you, sir.
All we're doing is we're teaching history out of the Bible first and foremost, and then history out of the books. It's no different than if you go to college or when you was in school.
And using reference books.
Right, you was using books. So we're not doing anything different. We're just reading. So I don't know what you mean by why we start this. Contact New York. If you haven't heard from New Orleans, contact New York.
You got the music on?
Yeah, I know I turned the music off.
Okay, you got to say that back on.
No, we're not back on. I just turned the music off. It was playing some more
That was Trey's song.
secular music.
We get some of them Carmen secular
Okay, all praises. Yeah, contact New York. Be consistent. Be diligent. You'll get a hold of somebody. Don't stop. All right. Yes, we do teach out of the New Testament. We teach out of the whole Bible. Absolutely, 100%. We just going through history right now, so all praises, Terrell, the poets.
Thank you, sister, for posting that information up. That sister be on it, though. She done posted every book we done used.
Okay, what are the steps to salvation? Do you know you're an Israelite? First and foremost, you got to know your history. which is what we're going through. If a lot of you brothers and sisters would just like listen instead of typing all the time, you would hear the things that we're actually going through.
Give your thumbs a rest.
You would hear and see that we are actually going through
Do like this.
History.
Look at your phone like this. Not like this. Like this.
You need one more thing, bro. No, I'm not. No, one more. Oh, can't be bad.
Want to get back into it, bro?
Yeah. Right. 2 ears, 1 mouth. So, you know, it's no different, man, when we out in the streets and we teaching people and we tell them, man, if you got all this knowledge, go get a street corner. The same thing on Periscope. If you got a lot to say, then open up your own Periscope and go teach the people.
And bring forth your strong reason.
And so, you know, we know scoffers are going to try to use Israel United in Christ's platform to
building on another man's foundation.
To build themselves.
What's wrong with you?
But it is what it is, Israel. So for all you who want to learn, we're going to continue to teach the truth. And Lord's will, y'all get something out of it, all right? We're going to continue.
All right. I ain't going to count it down, man. Just get back into it.
All right, go ahead.
All right. Now, we just went over assimilation as it pertains to contributing to your own slavery. With assimilation comes the religion and the doctrine of the other nations. Keep that in mind. I'm about to read a passage out of this book.
What's it called?
It's called How to Make a Negro Christian. This is what the Edomites think about you.
Okay, real quick before he gets started.
I got to explain the book. Go ahead.
Yeah, before he gets started, again, we are going through the courses in history of the things that our people had to go through and deal with, and the mentality that was given to us, and why our people still have that mentality. And later on, we're going to give brothers and sisters solutions on what we must do to get out of that mentality, because all these things were done to us to keep us in slavery. Remember, I'm gonna get it real quick. Give me Deuteronomy 28 and 48 again, because I want y'all to have keep this thought. Deuteronomy 28 and 48.
The book of Deuteronomy chapter 28 verse 48 says, "Therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee."
So the Most High sent them against us because we broke his commandments. Go ahead.
"In hunger, and in thirst, and in nakedness, and in want of all things."
So we were going to have to serve our enemies for all the resources that we need. Everything that you see on this earth right now, we would have to go to our enemies because we broke God's laws. Go ahead.
"And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he have destroyed thee."
So right now, our people are still walking around with that mental iron. So we're trying to get our people to realize that there was a reason. There's a reason why we are the way we are to this day.
Yeah.
We still have that yoke of iron upon our neck. So we trying to get people to realize through the books that we're reading why we're that way, and then we need to wake up and come together as a nation of people.
Exactly.
Go ahead.
Now, this book here, How to Make a Negro Christian. It is the writings. Is a collection of the writings of a Mr. Reverend Cole Cox Jones. Now, what Mr. Jones did, what the good Reverend did, this Edomite Reverend, was that he made it his life's mission to go from plantation to plantation to plantation, establishing how the black slaves that were over the black churches on these plantations, how they should conduct themselves, and to also tell the slave masters the benefits of giving their slaves Christianity or some type of religion. And I read from the Reverend Cole Cock Jones' writings. He says, "For the duty of obedience would never be felt and performed to the extent that we desire it, unless we can bottom it on religious principle. For the simple I'll read that again. I'm not going to read that part. He says, for the duty of obedience would never be felt and performed to the extent that we desire it, unless we can bottom it on religious principle." So they had to give you some type of religion to put you in order. They had to give you some type of religion to make you obedient. I hope you understand that. They had to give you Christianity to make you obedient. Now, in giving us Christianity, they noticed something. And they noticed something dramatic that we did amongst ourselves. This is what it says. This is the same book in page 108. He says, "The whites must truly feel a sense of pride in seeing this Negro leadership, the Christian pastors that were on the plantation, so clearly validating their own beliefs in white superiority." I'll read that again. It says, "The whites must truly feel a sense of pride in seeing this Negro leadership so clearly validating their own beliefs in white superiority." He goes on to say, here we have within the race, so within the black race, the intolerable situation of anti-black group proclaiming the race's inherent inferiority more effectively than whites ever could. So what he was, the instructions that this dude put out led the slave masters to say, you know what? They doing a way better job than we ever could in letting them know that they are inferior to us. That's crazy to me. I don't understand how that could even be possible. Christianity. Why? Let me read it for you.
And while he's getting that, I have an encyclopedia that gives a history of Christianity. And when we was worshiping, how it was set up to where we were being governed in the churches, to where we couldn't say what we wanted to say. There was only certain topics that you could speak about and preach on.
Yeah.
There was only certain things that you could speak about, and you had to sing, dance, and then that was it.
That's it.
Right. Go ahead.
This is why he was so amazed. Now remember, this is during slavery. He says, "For the simple presence of a white man at stated times among the Negroes," so at different times, at particular given times, the white, just like on your job sometimes. You sitting there doing your job, but the boss man will walk around. He ain't talking to nobody, he won't say a word, but he'll walk around and look at everybody. This is where it comes from. He says, "For the simple presence of a white man at stated times amongst the Negroes will tend greatly to the promotion of good order." So when you in that church and you got that white Jesus hanging up on the wall, you got Caesar Borgia hanging up on the wall, he's there to promote good order among the slave Negroes.
Right. And real quick before you carry on, I'm looking at some of the comments. This is the ridiculousness of some of the people on here. A lot of these books that we're reading are coming from the other nations. They know who we are. They know what they've done to us. They know what's happened to us. And they've written books about it. So for anybody who would take issue with us reading the book, you don't know your history. Obviously, you don't read. And you don't know who any of these authors are. And a lot of these books that we bring it out are from the other nations. Because our people won't believe it when a Negro write it.
Look this guy up. His name is Stephen Jacobs. He's the co-author of this book. This is what he says.
And what is he?
He's an Edomite. He's a white guy.
He's an Edomite.
He's a white guy.
So for anybody to say we bashing the other nations, we're reading out of their book.
Look him up, Google him, get his picture. This is what he says. Out of his book, chapter 1, page 9. Are African Americans the descendants of the ancient Hebrews of the Middle East? This question is answered in the affirmative with a resounding yes. He goes on to say, he concludes with a resounding yes, I'll read it, I'll finish it out, by Professor Joseph J. Williams, after more than 11 years of intensive research into the subject. Intensive, this is a white guy who has done intensive research on who the Israelites are, who we are today.
11 years.
11 years. And he's concluded those black people in America, they are the descendants of the Hebrews. Let me read on. He says, he concludes that the ancient Hebrews are parent stock from which present-day black American peoples actually evolved. This is an Edomite. This is your so-called white man who's telling us who we are.
But when we try to tell the Negroes who they are, they don't want to believe it.
No.
No, I'm a Kemetic, or
Yeah.
you know, I'm African, or I'm African American. No, you're an Israelite that the Bible speaks of. You so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans.
Let me now let's get back to the Reverend Cole Cock Jones and some more of his writings. He says they are talking about the slaves. He says they are ignorant and wicked people, from the oldest to the youngest. Hence, instruction should be committed to them all and communicated intelligibly. I can't even say that word. And that it may be impressed upon their memories and good order promoted amongst them. It should be communicated frequently and at stated intervals of time. He's talking about putting religion on his slaves to promote good order. Christianity on his slaves to promote good order. Now, keep in mind that he made this his life's mission to go from plantation to plantation to plantation. He dedicated his life to promoting Christianity amongst the slaves. Read him up. I mean, look him up. Read about it. It's an actual guy. Go ahead. You got something?
No, go ahead. I'm following you.
Oh, bro, I can go all day in this book.
Go ahead.
Boom, 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 boom. Let's get something else out of what the good Reverend just said. No, not that. Okay, let's get this. Okay, let's do this. Page 115 out of the book. It says, when well conducted, these plantation schools, in the course of a few years, produce most decided and beneficial changes over the whole plantation. Civilization, intelligence, manners, habits, conversation are all improved amongst the Negroes because you done gave them Christianity. Mm-hmm. And I read on. The scholars learn lessons of respect and obedience to their superiors, Christianity. They make more pleasant and profitable servants, better children, and when grown, better husbands and wives.
Right. So my thing is, how can you expect to learn who you are?
Yeah.
How can you expect to love your people, to love yourself, to love your nation, to love your culture, to love your heritage, if it's being taught by somebody else?
Yeah.
And then the ones, the Christian pastors are teaching someone else's culture in the churches. So that's why Sister Mary still don't like Sister Johnson.
Yeah.
Because they haven't learned to love each other because they're not being taught those things. You still being taught your slave master.
Because if Sister Mary knew that Sister Johnson, and Sister Johnson knew that Sister Mary was an Israelite, and that they're sisters, and that they're the greatest thing on this earth, all that contention would go out the window.
Right. Let me get a scripture real quick. Give me Deuteronomy 7:6. And we read this all the time. In the Christian churches, and what he's reading, we're being taught that if you do a slave this way, or you treat a slave this way, or you teach a slave a certain kind of way, this will keep them in servitude.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do in the churches or any of those during those times. It had nothing to do with who we are as a nation of people. They didn't want you to learn that. So just like somebody had put Willie Lynch up there, How they used to put us against each other.
Yeah.
The males against the females, the lights against the dark,
And it still
the
happens
men
today.
against the women. And this is the thing about it. You still get that in churches.
Yeah.
Where they would put, for example, a woman over a man in the churches. Sister Johnson is over the usher board or over the choir, and she's telling the men what to do, where to go, where to sit down. So then when Sister Johnson get home, she gonna do the same thing to her husband. She gonna do the exact same thing to her husband.
That's Christianity.
That's Christianity.
That's Christianity.
So never knowing how special you are. Because first and foremost, if you knew who you were in the Bible and how special you were, we would treat each other a lot different. Let me get that.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 7 and verse 6. For thou art a holy people unto the Lord thy God. The Lord thy God has chosen thee to be a special people unto himself.
So if Sister Johnson and Sister Mary knew that they were special people unto the Lord thy God, and the Most High had chosen them to be a special people, go ahead.
Above all people.
And he has chosen them to be above all people. Sister Johnson and Sister Mary be like, okay, well, if I am, then what do I need to do?
Yeah.
Like, what can I do to change? Is there any kind of requirements of me? If I'm special, what's been given to me that has not been given to anybody else? What is it in me that makes me more special than all these other people that are upon the face of the earth? Finish that out.
Above all people that are upon the face of the earth.
Why would you tell me that I'm above all people that are upon the face of the earth? What is it that you see in me that you don't see in somebody else? If we were being taught these things in the Christian church, 100% of the things that go on would not be happening. You wouldn't have hatred in there. Matter of fact, give me Leviticus 19 and 17. Because how can you be in the Christian church and this is what's going on?
The book of Leviticus, chapter 19 and verse 17. Thou shalt not hate thy brother in thine heart. Thou shalt in any wise rebuke thy neighbor, and not suffer sin upon him.
So it says, thou shalt not hate thy brother in thine heart. Thou shalt in any wise rebuke thy neighbor. How would you do that? By keeping God's commandments, by teaching the commandments, by going to your brother and sister and saying, okay, this is how we're supposed to treat each other. This is how we're supposed to act with each other. And the reason why I say that is because when I'm hearing Officer Amiel bring out some things in these books, I'm like, why isn't anybody questioning the method?
Yeah.
Why isn't anybody questioning what you're being taught?
I'm about to bring out something heavy on it.
Okay,
so
right.
I'm
so why isn't anybody why isn't anybody bringing anything out on this? Like, this doesn't seem right. Something is odd about what I'm being taught.
Exactly.
Because I still look around and I still see my people at the bottom.
Yeah.
I still see us struggling. I still see the person that's telling me to act this way, his people is on top. So that for me would make me go to the Bible and be like, man, what does it really say?
Yeah.
Let me find out what it really says. And who am I?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Now, as I told you before, that the Reverend Colcock Jones made it his life missions to go from plantation to plantation and instill Christianity among the slaves. Now, in doing that, he established an outline or an order on how the black preachers on these plantations should run the black churches. Let me give you a snippet of what he said that the church, or how the church should run. Now, we've already shown that when he says religion is given to, when Christianity is given to the slaves, that it promotes good order amongst them. Now, let's see how he established how the church should run, and think about the churches that you're in or you just came out of. And this is what he says. He says, the church should open with singing, read a portion of Holy Scripture. Now, before I continue, let me remind you that we're talking about assimilation coupled with religion that contributes to your own slavery. Now I'll start again. He says you should open with singing, read a portion of Holy Scripture, pray. After praying, let the school repeat the Lord's Prayer. The creed, the commandments, select verses of scripture, teach a hymn or a portion of it, which the school is learning, and make the school rise, teach for a short time, the tune with the hymn, review the last lesson, sing again, teach the lesson in the catechism for the day. So you try to bring it up to modern times. Give explanation, make an application. This should be done by each teacher privately to his class, and then the superintendent of the whole school and dismiss with or without prayer and a dismissal hymn.
That's sis. It is. That is Christian church right now.
This was established back in the 1800s. This dude made his life mission to teach every black dude, every black preacher on each plantation to do this, and it continues till today. You have been contributing to your own slavery and didn't even know it.
Wow.
He got something for the youth too. Bro, I'm telling you, man, it's wild. You had something?
No, go ahead. After that, we're going to get into solutions.
Okay.
I'm
beginning real quick. Now, this is what he says that should be done with the children, or what's they call it, the children's church?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, you know what's crazy about that? Is that's just another level of brainwashing, because they would separate the children from, the parents, and then teach them something totally different. You know what I mean?
Now let's see.
Now, granted, I haven't heard this. Yeah. I haven't heard what he's talking about. But I was in the Christian church. So let's see if it matches up with what I just said.
Now let's see what the Reverend Cole Cock Jones instituted back in the 1800s to the slave masters to teach their slaves, and to the black preachers on how to conduct with the children in the church. Okay, he says he should also instruct his people and promote their spiritual improvement by establishing a plantation school for the children and youth. The children should come, hold on, I don't want to mess it up. The children should come with clean clothes, with clean faces and hands, and be kept together from 15 to 45 minutes, in addition to such religion instruction as in communicated in common Sabbath schools. They may be taught other things of value at the discretion of the teacher. When well conducted, these plantation schools, in the course of a few years, produce most decided and beneficial changes over the whole plantation. Civilization, intelligence, manners, habits, conversation are all improved. The scholars learn these lessons of respect and obedience from their superiors. They make more pleasant and profitable servants, better children, and when grown, better husbands. I think I went over that already. The wild, half-clothed, boisterous, lawless, boisterous children are tamed and reduced to decency and order. If an owner look no further than his own comfort and interest, as an owner, he will establish a school for the children and youth in his plantation. Such a school assists the discipline of a plantation in a wonderful manner. So we continue that same thing today with children's church. Same thing. We separate the kids from 15 to 45 minutes or whatever, and teach them their own little doctrine. You went through that same thing too? Yeah. This was established back in the 1800s by Edomite on how the black people should run their church, and ain't nothing changed. Ain't that wild? Go ahead.
Man, we can go on and on and on and on. And like I said, this is just for us to realize the things that we've been through, the things that we continue to go through, and for us to know all this information and still have that slavery mindset. Not,
Bob Marley is an Esau.
Right.
I just want to throw my bad.
Right. No, you good. Not coming out of that slavery mindset after going and hearing all these things. Like I said, there is no better or no greater information than this Bible. I love this Bible. We just brought out some other books, so you brothers and sisters know that this information is out there. Give me Zephaniah 2:1. We're just going to get right into it. So now, hearing all this, here's some solutions. Here's some things that us as a nation of people, these are the things that we must do in order to get out of the conditions that we're in. Go ahead.
The book of Zephaniah, chapter 2 and verse 1. Gather yourselves together. Yea, gather together, O nation not desired.
Read that again.
Gather yourselves together. Yea, gather together.
So he's telling you, the Most High saying, gather together. Yea, gather together. Let's see if he's talking about everybody gathering together as one big melting pot. Go ahead.
O nation not desired.
Who is that nation that's not desired? That's you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians. It's telling us to gather ourselves together. Because as we've read through all these books that the officer and I have brought out, is that these other nations don't love us, don't care for us. These nations don't have our best interests. We've built this country, but yet you wouldn't know anything about it because we're at the bottom. We've done everything we've had a lot of our people do any and everything in their power to appease the other nations, but yet to no avail. Because if we don't gather together, then there is no hope in us being in rulership. You can't gather together with a nation that don't love you, or with a group of people who don't love you. There's no interest, no common interest. And you can't gather yourself. Matter of fact, give me 3 holy children. I'm going to read something out of there real quick. Get 3 holy children, and let me get verse. Hang on, Israel. Hold on a second. I'm going to explain something to you real quick. Before you get that, right? Before you get verse, we're going to start at like verse 5. But hold that real quick. Give me, yeah, we'll start there.
No,
hold that. Give me Psalms 147 and 19 and 20. So if we're supposed to gather together, let's see the type of people we're supposed to gather together with it. If it's supposed to be with everybody, and if that's a possibility. Go ahead.
The book of Psalms, chapter 147, verse 19.
Uh-huh.
He showeth his word unto Jacob,
uh-huh,
his statutes and his judgments unto Israel.
So the Most High God had given his laws, statutes, and commandments to the nation of Israel. Go ahead.
He hath not dealt so with any nation.
So if you are the only nation of people who have been given the commandments, and he said he didn't do it so with anyone else, how can you gather together with them? It's impossible. And the Bible's going to tell you that. Go back to 3 holy children. The Bible's going to tell you that. Go ahead.
This is the book of the Song of the 3 Holy Children in the Apocrypha.
Mm-hmm.
Verse 5. In all... I'm sorry, hold up. In all...
yeah, go ahead.
Verse 5?
Yeah.
All right. In all the things that thou hast brought upon us, and upon the holy city of our fathers, even Jerusalem.
Where you at?
Verse 5.
Go to verse 6.
Okay.
Mine is different. Go ahead.
You got that funny Bible, man?
Yeah, man. I got the funny one. Go ahead.
You got the NIV, man. You got to watch it. Verse 6. For we have sinned and committed iniquity, departing from thee.
So first and foremost, we have sinned against the Most High God, and we departed from his commandments. Go ahead.
Verse 7. In all things we have trespassed.
In all things have we trespassed. Because remember, we were given the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High. So in all things we trespass, no one else. Go ahead.
And not obeyed thy commandments,
uh-huh,
nor kept them.
Uh-huh.
Neither done as thou hast commanded us,
uh-huh,
that it might go well with us.
uh-huh.
Wherefore all that thou hast brought upon us, and everything that thou hast done to us, hast thou done in true judgment.
So we received the judgments of the Most High God for not keeping his commandments. Those judgments were slavery. The Most High God said, well, if you're not going to serve me with joyfulness and with gladness, you're going to serve somebody.
Yeah.
And that somebody is the other nations. Go ahead.
And thou deliverest us into the hands of lawless enemies.
Say that again.
And thou didst deliver us into the hands of lawless enemies.
So the Bible says that we were delivered into the hands of the lawless enemies. So if the laws were given to us and then we were delivered into the hands of the lawless enemies, then how can it be that we gather together? It's not possible. So when he's saying gather together, he's speaking about the children of Israel, those who were given the commandments. Read on.
Most hateful forsakers of God, and to an unjust king.
So we were given to the most hateful forsakers of God. So when you were in these Christian churches and being taught, God was not in those churches. That was all to keep you in a slavery mindset. Go ahead.
And the most wicked in all the world.
And the most wicked in all the world. So if they're not giving the commandments and you are, when we're supposed to gather, we're supposed to gather together. Give me 2 Corinthians. Let me see. Give me 2 Corinthians chapter 13 and 5. So in us gathering together, we have to get our mindset together. Go ahead.
The book of 2 Corinthians chapter 13 and verse 5.
Read that.
Examine yourselves, whether ye be in the faith.
So we must examine ourselves. Once we come together, we have to self-examine ourselves, whether we believe in this truth. Now we know that we the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans are the Israelites. You know these things. So now you have to examine yourself whether you be in this faith enough to say, you know what? I need to be with my people. I need to support my people. I need to help my people. What can I do to help? Is there, first and foremost, can I get a job?
Yeah.
Can I take care of my household? I need to raise my children and my wife a certain way. Is there a skill that I can learn? Is there a trait that I can learn? Can I go back to college? You have to examine yourself to see if you are in this faith. Go ahead.
Prove your own self.
You have to prove your own self. Now that you know that you Israel, you have to prove yourself. You have to gather together, examine yourself, and you have to prove that you believe in this Bible. That you know that you the Israelites that the Bible speak of. Go ahead.
Know ye not your own selves?
Uh-huh.
How that Jesus Christ is in you?
That's how you're going to know if Christ is in you. If you examine yourself, whether you be in the faith, by coming together and saying, you know what? This is my brother. What can I do to get us out of that slavery mindset? That's why we had the topic today, contributing to your slavery. If we go through all these books and the Bible first and foremost, and you still not examining yourself like, dang, you know what? That is us. But yet you got a brother and a sister who needs support, but you rather go down the street and help your oppressor. You have not examined yourself, and you don't know if you really believe or not.
Yeah. You
have to question your faith. Give me Romans chapter 12 and verse 2. Romans chapter 12 and verse 2. Go ahead.
The book of Romans chapter 12 and verse 2. And be not conformed to this world.
So now the Bible tells you, be not conformed to this world. All the things that we've been through as a nation of people, all the slavery, the beatings, the rapes, the rob, the murders, up to date, you can't find a job. We're in the lowest estate. We're in the ghettos. We're in the slums. Us knowing all these things, how do you expect us to get out of this condition unless we what? Read that.
But be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind.
You have to change your mindset. We have to look at each other and say, you know what, bro? What can we do to help each other get out of the situation that we're in? Because obviously, if we go to our oppressors, yeah, they're going to tell us everything to make us feel good,
yeah.
But there's something behind that. It's to keep them at the top. As I've read to you in the sociology book, they'll tell you that we're equal, but that's to keep us in servitude. So you have to, yes, As a man thinks, so is he. You're 100% correct. You have to change your mindset. Read that again from the top.
The book of Romans, chapter 12 and verse 2. And be ye not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind.
You have to change your mindset. In order for us to prosper as a nation, to bring ourselves back on top, we have to change our mind. Go ahead.
That ye may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of God.
So there it is again, that ye may prove what is good. How do you prove what is good? We know first and foremost it's the laws and the commandments that are good.
Yeah.
In those laws and commandments, it tells us what? That we shouldn't hate our brother in our heart. So if you would rather deal with the other nations instead of dealing with your brother, you have not proven what is good. You have to prove what is good. You can talk a good game.
You know why they deal with them other nations? Because they think the Most High dealing with them other nations.
Right. But coming in this truth, your mindset has to change. Because it tells you, a lot of us, like myself, came in and it said that we were going to go into slavery on slave ships. I understood that. Yeah. But what skips over people's head is that it says that you will be sent to slavery by your enemies. Your enemies. So we have not changed our mindset.
Because we see them prospering. Like, how they prospering if they're the enemy?
Right.
If God don't like it.
Right.
How they got this, that, and the third.
So on here it says that ye may prove what is that good, that acceptable, and perfect will of God. God's will is for his people to get to the kingdom, to be on top, to keep the commandments, to love one another. That's what's acceptable to God. Loving my brother Amiel, supporting my brother Amiel, instead of having that mindset saying, you know what, it don't matter. Yeah, that's my brother, but you know what, I'm going to go and support somebody else. I'm going to go support the other nations. You have not changed your mindset.
You're still contributing to your own slavery.
Exactly. You still contributing to your own slavery. The more and more you continue to support the other nations instead of your own people, having that mindset of instead of going to get a job and saying, you know what, I'm going to get a job in McDonald's because you know what, that's going to help get somebody out of a situation. Instead, you rather sit on the couch and have everybody else doing it. You have not transformed your mind, and you still support slavery. You yourselves support slavery. Give me Baruch chapter 4 and verse 3.
Ooh, you read my mind.
Yeah, man. Let me get there.
Okay.
All right. This is Baruch. This is the book of Baruch chapter 4 and verse 3.
It says, give not thine honor to another.
So the Bible says, give not thine honor to another. What is your honor? First and foremost is the law, statutes, and commandments. That's honor. Having the laws, the Most High giving you the laws, that's honor.
Yeah.
And giving honor to another would be supporting somebody else instead of your own people. Why would you still have that mindset when you're in the truth now?
Because the example of that would be Black Wall Street. Black Wall Street did not contribute to their own slavery. Black Wall Street got together and said, matter of fact, right after slavery, there were a bunch of slaves that came together and said, we will not contribute any more to our own slavery. We will build colleges. We will build institutions of learning. But after, Martin Luther King, after he wanted the integration, and after he talked everybody into joining him in his path to integration, nothing. Not one school been built. We don't support ourselves. Black businesses done closed up. Famous Amos done sold his cookies to the Edomites. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. We contribute to our own slavery. Instead of building ourselves up, we're selling it off to the other nations. Go ahead.
All right, go ahead. I'm gonna speed it up a little bit because I want to get some examples. Verse 3 again.
Verse 3. Give not thine honor to another, nor the things that are profitable unto thee.
It said, nor the things that are profitable unto thee. So what would be profitable to us is if we took care of each other.
Yeah.
Why would you give that to another nation? Because that would keep you in servitude. It said, nor the things that are profitable unto thee. So what's profitable? Helping my brother out. helping my sister out. I say it over and over again, getting a job, learning a trade, learning a skill, a trade. I said trade. Learning a trade, learning a skill. Those are things that are profitable to help push the truth, to help our nation out. It says, read that again.
Okay.
Verse 3. Go ahead.
Verse 3. Give not thy honor to another, nor the things that are profitable unto thee to a strange nation.
To a strange nation. It's telling you not to give those things to a strange nation. Do not give away your livelihood to a strange nation. Don't give your money. If you can help another brother out, why would you go to another nation and do it instead? I say it all the time. We are 100% consumers.
Yeah.
There, a lot of people aren't going to own businesses. A lot of people aren't going to have, a wealth of money. But the thing is, help your people. Whatever you can do, help your people. That's what's profitable. It tells you don't give it to another nation. Go ahead.
But one thing that is common amongst us is that even when somebody, let's say somebody black does have a store, the first thing we say, man, them prices too high.
Or can I get a hookup?
Yeah, can I get a hookup?
Right.
Instead of supporting the brother or the sister in his or her endeavor to help them be able to expand and bring down the prices.
Right. Sis, you're right. Everybody is not going to be a chief. There has to be Indians, sheeps, and servants. You're absolutely right. So we're not telling everybody to go open a business or
everybody don't have the mindset
right.
for that.
Don't open a franchise. We're not telling everybody to do that because not everybody's gonna be able to do that, and that's not everybody's craft.
Yeah.
But support your people is what we're telling you. Only way we're gonna get out of this condition is everybody play their part. Jump down to verse 6.
Verse 6. Ye were sold to the nations, not for your destruction.
See, so now it says, ye were sold to the nations, not for your destruction. So we weren't sent over here to destroy each other. We were sent over here so we can come together as a nation of people. Realize what we did by breaking God's commandments. That's why we were sent over here. But now we must build as a nation of people. Because we weren't sent over here to separate from each other. We weren't sent over here to go support the other nations. Go ahead.
You were sold to the nations, not for your destruction, but because ye moved God to wrath.
That's why we were sent over here. Because we broke God's laws. And once we get that in our mind, like, man, we broke God's commandments. First and foremost, let me repent, come back to God's laws so we can get out of here. And in order for us to get out of here, we must build. Go ahead.
But because ye moved God to wrath, you will deliver it unto the enemies.
So that's why we were brought here. Give me Exodus chapter 35, and we're going to start at verse 4. We're going to jump around on this one. I'm going to give you some examples of how our forefathers and our foremothers treated each other, how we got down, how we took care of each other. Yes. Let me get there real quick. Exodus 35 and 4. Hang on.
35 and 4.
Yeah, 35 and 4. Let me get there. I'm going to jump around. We're going to read 4 through 6, and then we're going to jump around.
The book of Exodus, chapter 35 and verse 4.
Uh-huh.
And Moses spake unto all the congregation of the children of Israel, saying, This is the thing which the Lord commanded, saying, Take ye from among you an offering unto the Lord. Whosoever is of a willing heart.
So read that from the top, verse 5 again.
Verse 5. Take ye from among you an offering unto the Lord, whosoever is of a willing heart.
So now, the key to this is, when you serving the Most High God, you must have a willing heart. All of you brothers and sisters understand, when you in this truth, you must have a willing heart. Let's see what the brothers and sisters who had a willing heart, what they would do. Go ahead.
Let him bring it, an offering of the Lord, gold and silver and brass, blue and purple and scarlet, and fine linen of goat's hair.
So having a willing spirit, these people would give. There was a purpose. They wanted to take care of the Most High God, And in turn, this took care of the people as well. You must have a willing spirit when you in this truth. Jump down to verse 21.
Verse 21. And they came, everyone whose heart stirred him up.
Say that again.
And they came, everyone whose heart stirred him up. And everyone whom his spirit made willing.
Again, there it is. You have to have that willing spirit. Go ahead.
And they brought the Lord's offering to the work of the tabernacle of the congregation, and for all his service, and for the holy garments.
Read on.
And they came, both men and women, and as many as were willing-hearted.
Read it from the top again.
And they came, both men and women.
So it took both men and women. It's not just a male movement. It takes men and women. Go ahead.
As many as were willing-hearted.
As many that were willing-hearted. You have to have that willing mind to serve the Lord. And when you have that willing mind to serve the Lord, you will also serve your people. You will also be servants to your people. You will also support your people. You also have love for your people. But you have to have that willing mind. And it takes a whole lot of will to do this. Because it's easy to go down the street and spend your money somewhere else.
Yeah.
It's easy to, yeah, it's very convenient, which is why they call it a convenience store.
Yeah.
It's very easy to deal with the other nations. But it takes a willing heart and a willing mind to want to support your people. That's love.
Yeah.
That's genuine love. Go ahead.
And brought bracelets and earrings and rings and tablets, all jewels of gold. And every man that offered offered an offering of gold unto the Lord. And every man with whom was found blue and purple and scarlet and fine linen and goat's hair and red skins of rams.
Okay, so that's it on that. So you have to have that willing spirit when you dealing with your people, because it's that willing spirit that's going to help us get out of the conditions that we're in. Go to Ezra chapter 4. I have to see through. We got like 5 minutes. Ezra chapter 4 and verse 1. Hold on. Yeah. Give me just a second. Let me get there.
Got it?
Yes.
The book of Ezra, chapter 4 and verse 1. Now when the adversaries of Judah and Benjamin heard that the children of the captivity builded the temple upon the Lord, unto the Lord God of Israel, then they came to Zerubbabel.
So our people, our nation came back together to build a temple to the Most High God. Read that from the top again.
The book of Ezra, chapter 4 and verse 1. Now when the adversaries of Judah and Benjamin heard that the children of the captivity builded the temple unto the Lord God of Israel.
So when you had our enemies, our oppressors, they heard that we were rebuilding, just like we're doing right now. We are rebuilding as a nation. Go ahead.
Then they came to Zerubbabel and to the chief of the fathers and said unto them, let us build with you.
So the other nations came to our forefathers and said, let us build with you. They wanted to help build the nation. So let's see how our forefathers responded to that.
For we seek your God as ye do.
So they wanted to seek the same God that we have. Go ahead.
And we do sacrifice unto him since the days of, pronounce that? Esarhaddon, king of Assur, which brought us up hither.
But let's see what our forefathers said. We were building on our own. Our people, we were building on our own. And we had the other nations asking to help build with us. So let's see what our forefathers said.
But Zerubbabel and Jeshua and the rest of the chief of the fathers of Israel said unto them, ye have nothing to do with us. I'm sorry, ye have nothing to do with us to build an house unto our Lord.
So our forefathers said, you have nothing to do to us to help us build. You can't. How can you help us build?
But notice he said, our Lord.
Right.
It ain't everybody.
Right. So he said, the other nations have nothing to do with helping us build. So guess what that means? That means we have to build. We have to build. We have to get out of that slavery mindset and come together and build as a nation. Read on. like 2-3 minutes.
But we ourselves together will build unto the Lord God of Israel, as King Cyrus, the king of Persia, hath commanded us. Then the people of the land weakened the hands of the people of Judah and troubled them in building.
So with that being said, it's not going to be easy. You think that people are just going to sit back and allow us to go get loans, or allow us to just take our kids out of school and go build a school? It's not going to be easy.
Yeah.
Whatever the case may be, just different scenarios. It's not going to be easy. The other nations, want to join in, and we tell them that this is ours to build on our own. It's going to be stumbling blocks.
Yeah.
It's going to be troubles. Go ahead.
Verse 5, I like this verse. And hired counselors against them.
So we're going to have those things happen to us.
That's that tumult.
But you got to remain faithful. You got to keep pushing Israel. Go ahead.
To frustrate their purpose all the days of Cyrus, king of Persia, even until the reign of Darius, king of Persia.
So there's going to be obstacles, but we must stick together. We must be as one body. Matter of fact, give me my last scripture. Give me 1 Corinthians 12 and 12. 1 Corinthians 12 and 12. There's going to be obstacles. There's going to be situations. There's going to be things that happen.
The book of 1 Corinthians, chapter 12 and verse 12. For as the body is one, and hath many members, and all the members of the body, being many, are one body, so also is Christ.
But we must remain as one body. That's how we're going to get through this. Not, we can't have 10 brothers like-minded, and then another 10 are not like-minded.
Yeah.
They doing something different. We must be like-minded, Israel. Come back to the law, statutes, commandments, and come together as one nation. With that, we're going to have to close it down. All praises to the Most High in Christ. Happy Sabbath, Israel. We love you, brothers and sisters. Y'all be safe out there, all right? Happy feast. Shalom.
All right, shalom.